My fiancée let her sister humiliate me for being an orphan, then my job put her family in my hands. Hi, I'm Alex, 36, and last month my life detonated in a bridal boutique because someone decided I didn't deserve to wear white. Orphans don't wear white. That's for real families, my fiancée's sister announced, loud enough for the consultants, the mirrors, and half the store to hear. I smiled. I always smile when something inside me snaps. 20 minutes earlier, I'd been floating. The champagne was cold in my hand, the ivory suit fit like it had been tailored for the man I fought to become, and for the first time in my life, I let myself imagine a wedding that wasn't about proving I belonged somewhere. Then Marina, pregnant, overdressed, and permanently offended by my existence, decided to turn my fitting into a public service announcement. My fiancé stood near the rack of suits, suddenly very interested in the floor. The consultant froze mid-pin. A couple across the room stopped pretending not to listen. Marina tilted her head, smiling the way people do when they think cruelty counts as honesty. White is tradition, she continued. It's symbolic. Family. Parents. Roots. She glanced at me, slow and deliberate. You don't really have those. And there it was. Not a joke. Not a slip. A verdict. My parents died when I was 8. Foster homes after that. 5 of them. I learned early how to pack fast, stay quiet, and never assume I was wanted. I worked nights through college. Built my career without favors, without safety nets, without anyone clapping for me at the finish line. And now, standing under boutique lighting with champagne bubbles rising like tiny lies, I understood something with perfect clarity. This wasn't about a suit. It wasn't about tradition. It was about reminding me, publicly, where she thought I belonged. I set the champagne glass down carefully. Okay, I said, calm enough to scare myself. Marina blinked. She'd expected tears. Or anger. Or gratitude for her honesty. She had no idea what was coming. Marina relaxed the moment I said, okay, like she just won something. People like her always think silence is surrender. See? She said, rubbing her stomach. I'm just trying to help you avoid embarrassment. Weddings are about family. About where you come from. I nodded slowly. You're right. My fiancée, Claire, 33, finally looked up. Her eyes flicked to mine, confused, almost relieved. She thought I was letting it go. She always mistook restraint for peace. The consultant cleared her throat. Would you like to continue the fitting or? No, Marina cut in. He understands now. That word. He. Not my name. Never my name. I stepped out of the mirror's center and handed the jacket back to the consultant. My hands were steady. That scared me more than anger ever did. Could you give us a moment? I asked politely. The consultant didn't hesitate. She took one look at my face and disappeared like she'd seen this movie before. Claire moved closer. Alex. I'm sorry she said that. She didn't mean it like. Like what? I asked. Like I don't have parents? Or like I don't belong? That's not what she meant, Claire said quickly. She's just very traditional. Marina laughed. Don't make this dramatic. We all know facts aren't insults. I turned to Claire. Really turned. I waited. I gave her space. I gave her the opening. She didn't take it. Instead, she sighed. Can we just get through today without a scene? And there it was. Not are you okay? Not she crossed the line. Just don't make this harder for me. Something quiet died in my chest. I need air, I said. I walked out alone. The bell over the boutique door chimed cheerfully as if nothing important had just broken. Outside, the city moved on. People laughed. A couple argued over parking. Life didn't pause for realizations. I sat in my car for a long moment, hands on the wheel, staring straight ahead. Then my phone buzzed. An email. Subject line, merger update, final approval. Sender, Daniel Wright, CEO. I opened it. Board approved this morning. Acquisition confirmed. You'll be leading integration. Congratulations. I exhaled slowly. Because Marina's husband worked at the company we just acquired. And she had no idea who'd signed off on his future. I laughed. Not out loud. Just a sharp breath through my nose, the kind that comes when irony finally stops pretending to be subtle. Marina's husband, Victor, 38, worked at Halstead Consulting, the firm we just absorbed. Middle management. Decent resume. Replaceable. The kind of guy who introduced himself by title before name. And now, because the universe has a vicious sense of humor, I was leading the integration. I didn't plan anything that day. That's important. This wasn't some movie moment where I cracked my knuckles and whispered revenge into the void. I went home. Ordered Thai food. Took a shower. Let the water hit my back until my thoughts lined up into something sharp and usable. The next morning, I walked into the office like nothing had happened. Glass walls. Open floor. People nodding as I passed. The usual. I'd spent 10 years building credibility here. No shortcuts. No favors. No one had ever accused me of being emotional. Daniel called me into his office before noon. Big responsibility, he said, sliding a folder across the desk. We're trusting you with people's careers. I opened it. Org charts. Performance reviews. Redundancy assessments. Names blurred together until one didn't. Victor Hale. Performance, adequate. Leadership limited. Strategic value post-merger, unclear. I didn't add anything. I didn't delete anything. I just stopped softening the language. That afternoon, Victor emailed me. Hey Alex. Small world. Marina mentioned you were involved in the merger. Would love to grab coffee and chat about my future here. I stared at the screen for a long moment. Funny how confident people get when they think family gives them leverage. I replied one sentence. Happy to discuss once integration decisions are finalized. Professional. Neutral. Ice cold. 3 days later, Daniel asked for recommendations. Any concerns? He said. I told him the truth. Victor's role overlapped with 2 stronger performers. His leadership reviews were mediocre. Keeping him would mean letting go of someone better. Daniel nodded. So redundancy? Yes, I said. Calm. Clear. Documented. Daniel didn't hesitate. All right. That was it. No yelling. No drama. No satisfaction rush. Just a signature. The next morning, Marina called Claire screaming. Victor had been blindsided. The company was heartless. Someone must be out to get them. Claire called me an hour later. Her voice shook. Did you do this? I leaned back in my chair and stared at the city through the window. I did my job, I said. Silence on the line. Then, softly, this is about what my sister said, isn't it? And that's when I realized. She still thought this was a fight. No, I said. This is about what you didn't say. Claire didn't answer right away. I could hear her breathing, that careful pause she always took when she was deciding which version of herself to be. You're punishing my family, she finally said. I smiled again. That same old reflex. I'm not punishing anyone. I evaluated an employee during a merger. That's literally my job description. That's not fair, she snapped. You know how this looks. I do, I said calmly. It looks like consequences. She inhaled sharply. You're proving Marina right. That one landed. About what? I asked. That I'm vindictive? Or that I don't belong? That you're always ready to fight, she said. That everything turns into a battle with you. I swiveled my chair slightly, watching people move through the office below. Confident people. Safe people. People who never had to calculate the cost of silence. I learned to fight because no one ever showed up for me. I said. Including just now. That's not true, Claire said. I love you. I know, I replied. But love without defense is just comfort. She didn't like that. So what? She said. You expect me to cut off my sister? Yell at her in public? Start a war with my family? I thought of the boutique. The mirrors. Marina's voice. Claire staring at the floor. No, I said. I expected you to stand next to me. Even quietly. Silence again. Then, small and almost hopeful. Are we okay? That question told me everything. Not are you okay? Not did that hurt you? Just are we okay, like this was a cracked vase we could glue back together and pretend never leaked. I don't know, I said honestly. Her voice hardened. So you're choosing this? Your job? Your pride? Over us? I looked down at my hands. The same hands that had packed garbage bags in foster homes. The same hands that signed leases alone. The same hands that built something from nothing. I'm choosing myself, I said. For once. She started crying then. Quietly. Controlled. The way people cry when they're losing something they assumed would always stay. You're not the man I thought you were, she said. No, I agreed. I'm the man I had to become. We didn't officially break up that day. We just stopped pretending. That night, I went home to an apartment that was mine alone. I sat on the couch in silence, the kind that used to terrify me. It didn't anymore. My phone buzzed. A text from Marina. Hope you're happy. Real families don't do this to each other. I typed back one line. Exactly. Then I blocked her. Monday morning, the fallout went public. Halstead's internal memo leaked. Organizational restructuring, strategic redundancy. All the usual corporate poetry. Victor was out. 6 months severance. Clean paperwork. No appeal. Marina, however, went nuclear. She posted vague quotes about betrayal and snakes in designer suits. Tagged no one. Tagged everyone. Mutual friends started connecting dots like it was a hobby. By noon, Claire's mother, Elaine, requested a meeting. That got my attention. Elaine had always been polite in the way people are when they're deciding whether you count. Old money calm. Soft voice. Eyes that measured without asking permission. We met at a quiet cafe near my office. She didn't order anything. Just folded her hands and looked at me. I'm going to be direct, she said. Did you influence my son-in-law's termination because of what Marina said to you? I appreciated the lack of theater. Yes, I said. She blinked. Not because she was shocked, because she hadn't expected honesty. I didn't invent anything. I continued. I didn't lie. I didn't break policy. But her words removed my desire to protect him. Elaine sat back slightly. Do you feel justified? She asked. I feel finished, I replied. That gave her pause. Marina was cruel, she admitted. She's always been careless with power. But Victor has a child coming. Careers affect families. So do words, I said gently. Some just take longer to land. Elaine studied me for a long moment, then sighed. You're very controlled, she said. That's how you survived. Yes. And survival can turn into habit, she said. Even when you don't need it anymore. I didn't argue. She stood. I won't ask you to undo anything. What's done is done. But I will say this. My son loved you, in the only way he knows how. That wasn't enough, I said quietly. She nodded. I suspected you'd say that. When she left, I stayed at the table long after my coffee went cold. That night, I went back to the boutique. The same consultant recognized me instantly. You came back, she said, smiling. I did, I replied. I want the ivory suit. She hesitated. Is the wedding still on? No, I said. But I'm still allowed to own it. She smiled wider this time. As I paid, I realized something strange. For the first time, I wasn't buying something to prove I belong. I was buying it because no one gets to tell me what I'm allowed to wear. The suit hung in my closet like a quiet dare. Not a symbol of a wedding. Not a trophy. Just a reminder that I didn't need permission anymore. Work moved fast after that. The merger closed clean. My team doubled. I got the corner office with the view everyone pretends they don't care about. A raise big enough to make my past self laugh out loud. And still, something itched. One evening, I tried the suit on again. Same fit. Same clean lines. But in the mirror, there was no future scene attached to it. No vows. No family clapping from folding chairs. Just me. That's when it hit me. I'd won everything I'd been told I wasn't supposed to have, and I was still braced for impact. A week later, I got an email from Victor. No subject line. Just one sentence. I know this came from you. I forwarded it to my lawyer. Didn't reply. But it sat with me. Not guilt. Not fear. Recognition. I remembered what Elaine had said, survival turns into habit. That weekend, I did something I hadn't done in years. I drove without a destination. Past the old library where I'd done homework because foster homes were too loud. Past the street where one family kept me 8 months before I was no longer a good fit. At a red light, I scrolled through old contacts. Names from a life that felt like someone else's. Case workers. Group home kids. One mentor who'd taught me how to open a bank account. I stopped on one name. Jonah. He'd aged out a year before me. Smart. Angry. Disappeared fast. On impulse, I emailed him. No agenda. Just, hope you're doing okay. He replied 2 days later. Still breathing. You. I smiled. At work, Daniel called me in. Are you satisfied? He asked. With what? With winning. I thought about Marina. About Claire. About the suit in my closet. I don't know, I admitted. That's honest, he said. Just don't mistake momentum for fulfillment. That night, I made a decision. Not to undo the past, but to stop letting it decide everything. I started small. I asked HR to pilot a short-term consulting program, project-based contracts for experienced professionals between roles. Low risk. High return. Daniel approved it without much thought. One name went on the list. Victor Hale. No explanation. No announcement. Just a 6-month contract, remote, decent pay. He never knew where it came from. And I didn't need him to. Natalie, my oldest friend, the one who'd seen me eat instant noodles with hot sauce packets for dinner, noticed the shift before anyone else. You're different, she said over takeout one night. Less sharpened. Is that good or bad? I asked. Both, she said. You're not constantly braced anymore. But you look like you're grieving something. She wasn't wrong. I was grieving the idea that once I proved myself enough, the world would finally feel safe. It doesn't work that way. A month later, I ran into Marina at a grocery store. She was pushing a stroller, hair pulled back, eyes tired. We locked eyes for half a second. She nodded once. I nodded back. No apology. No confrontation. No victory speech. And strangely, that was enough. Claire texted me after that. I heard about your promotion. Congratulations. I replied, thank you. Then she added, do you ever think we could be friends? I stared at the screen longer than I should have. Maybe someday. Not right now. She didn't reply. Work stabilized. Life did too. I dated casually. Nothing stuck. Most people didn't know what to do with someone who didn't need saving and wouldn't do the saving either. One night, alone in my apartment, I took the suit out again. Put it on. Looked in the mirror. For the first time, I didn't see defiance. I saw ownership. I took a photo, not for the world. Just for me. And I finally understood something that had taken me decades to learn. Belonging isn't something you're granted. It's something you stop asking for. A year later, I donated the ivory suit. Not because it hurt to keep it, but because it had done its job. I gave it to a nonprofit that outfits young men aging out of foster care for job interviews, court dates, and weddings no one expects them to have. I didn't attach my name. Just a note in the pocket. You're allowed to take up space. A month after that, Jonah messaged me. Got the job. First real one. You still owe me a beer. We met. We laughed about things that would have broken other people. That's how you know you've survived something. You can joke about it without flinching. Morrison expanded again. I became executive VP. I started mentoring quietly. No speeches. No LinkedIn posts. Just showing up for people who didn't have anyone else to show up for them. At a conference, a young man asked me, "How do you deal with people who look down on you because of where you came from?" I smiled. "I survive things they can't imagine," I said. "Then I build a life they can't ignore." Do I regret what happened? Some of it. I regret loving someone who chose comfort over courage. I regret letting anger drive the car for as long as it did. But I don't regret defending myself. And I don't regret proving that kids from nowhere grow up to have power. The last time I saw Marina, she was laughing with her daughter in a park. I didn't stop. I didn't need to. White isn't for families. It's for people brave enough to claim joy after loss. And I don't need a wedding to know who I am anymore. I belong. Because I decided I do.